coercively assigned ready at birth.
Oh God, it's not on. I can't just push the button anymore, and
give it a
because
second.
I haven't done this in 2
there
weeks.
we go.
Oh God, hold on.
Oh my God.
Anytime. This is
doesn't know how to open Adobe.
This is the most shut the fuck up and don't touch nothing podcast in history, where it's like anytime anything changes, all of us become fucked
helpless
mentally.
Delirious with rage. You know that XKCD about every update breaks somebody's workflow?
Yeah,
we have those things
one hit point workflow.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on. And
I'm gonna
oh, I should start the virtual camera too, and we should do a sync point.
A sync point.
A sync point. A point where you sync.
Ask me about the Titanic.
3, 2, 1, mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Oh, crispy.
Close enough.
That was a violent clap. I was fond of that. That was good. Stimulating. All right, we're locked in. The podcast with a 1 hit point workflow is back.
Yes.
The podcast barely cling to life most days. Yeah. We don't worry.
This is the thing. We're never going to stop doing it. We're never going to stop doing it, but it's a battle.
Hi, haters.
All right, yeah, 60 gigabytes. That's fine.
I'm gonna beat you to death with your own shoes.
I hope there was nothing incriminating on recent files. I don't know.
Something incredible. Okay.
I don't know. I might have all the Epstein files. You don't know that.
I guess we don't.
Nuclear bomb plans?
Yeah.
Not mine.
That's not mine.
.exe.
Why is it an executable?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, shut up.
Hello.
Hi, Rods.
And hello and welcome to Well, there's your problem. It's a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. I'm Justin Rosniak. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him. Okay, go.
I am November Kelly. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are she and her. Yay, Liam.
Yay, Liam. Hi, I'm Liam McAnderson. My pronouns are he, him. And we have a guest / employee / what are you, Victoria?
That's a great question.
That was not rhetorical, by the way.
I'm a Victoria. My name is Victoria Scott. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm survived the month of October, so I'm fucking back.
Survived the month of October reward.
Yeah, it tried really hard to kill me.
Yeah, we'll get you a medal of some kind when we get a chance.
Yeah, like a valiant, like a medal of Lenin, like for valiant service in the face of October.
I will absolutely get you an order of Lenin. You just have to come to Scotland to pick it up.
Okay, that's fine. We can arrange that.
Who would do that?
Go to Scotland?
Yeah.
What kind of
this
asshole?
Economy?
In this economy?
I know exactly what kind of asshole it would be.
Entirely to purchase Buckfast.
Yeah, well, I
needed
it.
With 2 suitcases laden down with the caffeinated, fortified wine made by monks.
Right, the thing is, right, that I need caffeinated alcohol because it is my lifeblood. Because my 2 favorite things in the world are being stimulated and depressed, baby, and I'm gonna have both at once.
God made caffeinated alcohol for the same reason he made trans people, so that we could share in the joy of creation.
That's right, baby.
Here's the thing: I couldn't find Buckfast in Scotland. I had to go with respected railway engineer Gareth Dennis to buy it in York. And father.
Where did you find it in York? That must have been a little bit of an odyssey.
It was there was a bar, but it had a beer store underneath.
Bizarre.
Everything was crooked. The bathroom was the smallest room I've been in my life. It was pretty good.
I'm so glad you enjoyed my stupid country.
It was a nice time. I liked it more than other parts of the trip, to be honest. So, what you see on the screen in front of you is a pretty beat up Amtrak whatever the new Siemens diesel locomotives are called.
It looks
The
like
Charger.
the kind of.
The Charger,
like the Dodge
yes.
they sell to the Marines.
It looks like the train equivalent of Darth Vader with the helmet off. It's bad.
Yes. Yeah, it's
That's
not very
bad.
good.
You might as well have just spray painted "That's bad." The T right here is shorthand for "That's bad," folks.
Yeah, the
Thank you. At least
WTYP
Victoria gave me a
inspectors
pity laugh,
arrive at
you
the site of this
motherfuckers.
train, and like spray paint a W and a YP on the side of this instead of an A.
Listen. It's better than
yeah,
the fanfics.
It's not supposed to look like this.
Oh, no.
Today we're going to talk about the 2017 Port Defiance Amtrak Cascades derailment.
You can tell that this is the Pacific Northwest because someone has clipped a leash to the front of this train with the carabiner.
Ugh, lesbians.
Yeah, there's already like vegetation growing on it because there's so much rain. You know, yeah. I think we have not friends, but friends of friends who were on this train when it
Oh, wow.
derailed.
I
So
hope
I
they're
don't know, we
excited
gotta
for
be-
us to like make light of their tragedy.
Yeah, exactly.
You survived a train
That's-
crash. Not
that's
many
our
people can say
job,
that.
you know. Yeah. So, but before we talk about that, we have to do the goddamn news.
Fuck you.
So I mean, a lot of things have happened in the past. Whenever the last time we released an episode, we had the longest government shutdown in history.
Yeah, do you think it's a coincidence that the federal government shuts down and the podcast doesn't come out for a while?
Hey, it's shit we can't talk about on air. Part 455.
Yeah.
It's fine. Listen,
Hello,
the good thing is we
lanyards.
established what they call in the business a legend by also not releasing a bunch of times when the federal government was funding.
Oh, we're the most
Yes.
inconsistent podcast in the world. It comes out when it comes out. It says so on our website. Shut up.
Yeah, it makes me
No,
want to kind of ritually disembowel myself because of the dishonor.
People
Yeah,
love
me too.
A-Lab series. I can only hope to become that inconsistent.
It's aspirational.
Yeah, exactly. So we had the longest government shutdown in history, and like 10 Democrats or whatever, including our own
8, I think.
Senator John Fetterman. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Boo!
decided- Nah, we should just
Capitulate for no fucking
and
reason.
reopen everything.
Yeah, I mean, Fetterman had
unconditionally.
like another stroke, maybe, or like a fall and a heart attack, or some kind of like unhealthy shit, but
But
it
that
didn't
happened
turn him
af-
woke.
That happened after he voted, though.
Ah,
think.
Yeah, it didn't turn
think.
him woke.
God's just consistently trying to strike him down, but he's,
And who
he
could
can't
blame
break
God?
through his thick
Certainly
head.
quite do it, yeah.
Certainly not
Satan
me.
being like Pennsylvanian Satan being like, we've created a smite-proof oath.
You thought it was gonna be me, didn't you, motherfuckers?
You might be smite-proof, but we don't know.
I'm mortal until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
So this was an extremely frustrating thing for it to end in this way because you do this very long government shutdown. When the government shuts down, obviously for those of you who have been living under a rock, which seems like an ideal place to live, to be honest.
Unless
people
it's
like,
the federal government's rock.
oh yeah, that's true. Then they kick you. You're the federal government's like ornamental hermit.
Yeah, I work in the folly at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of non-essential government employees just don't get paid until the government reopens.
And the Trump
or
administration is trying
they're
to
laid
not
off,
pay a
or
lot
they're-
of these people too, which is vile.
Yeah. This is like a whole like crisis that was sort of, around like, okay, we have to fund the government somehow. And the Democrats, of course, wanted to continue such things as Affordable Health Care Act subsidies, right? So that people's insurance doesn't, double next year. And the, Republicans did not want to do that because they, I don't know, want to kill everyone.
Yeah, they're fuck asses, dude.
Yeah, and you know what they say.
bastards. They
In a
don't give a fuck.
standoff like that, you can always rely on the famously iron spine of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Devin,
Yeah.
10 minutes, 30 seconds in, take those motherfuckers out back and them. Kneel them over, ditch, them all. Them if you gotta. Shoot and them 10 minutes and 30 seconds in to reiterate.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this other than,
I already said it,
with
man.
with the ultimate capitulation here. It's like, why did we do any of that?
Well,
What was that
That is
for?
exactly right.
It was to disrespect a bunch of troops, which is the most noble reason for doing anything. To go to
Including
the
air
US
traffic
military.
controllers who were a type of troop.
Yeah, and being like, hey, fuck ass, and then you slap them in the back of the head so their glasses fly off and they can't see the planes, and you go, we're not paying you for 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, and the Dems were winning this too. Like polling showed that, even for like the wonk-minded out there, that the Democrats were perceived as not the problem, and the Republicans were actually getting, kind of shellacked for this. So it made perfect sense to immediately be like, no, actually, it's our fault. We're just gonna.
But we're so
Our demands. What about those?
And then, of course, the second after they did capitulate, Donald Trump came on stage with a big briefcase, which snapped open to reveal a bunch of documents incriminating him as a pedophile. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Tactical masterstroke once again from Senator Chuck Schumer.
I did like the article.
I just got a
a
phone call today from Blue Cross Blue Shield saying that my
no.
premiums were going up next year. So
Thank God for that. Yeah, I am trying to have a family, and I have to do some stuff around that. And if you try to prohibit me from having a family, I'm going to take a battle axe, Senator Schumer and Senator Fetterman, and I'm going to come to your offices with my battle axe, and I'm going to Dev 12 minutes 25 seconds in.
Well,
this is the thing, right?
You hit Fetterman with the blunt end over and over again each time.
You die,
he comes back with a different. No. He comes back with a different ideology each time.
I think he embraced Chairman Gonzalo thought for a minute there.
No, wait, fuck, go back.
I hit him one time, and I think he called me a cracker.
I would pay good money to see Black Israelite liberation John Fetterman.
Yes, so would I.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if anyone made that guy, it is the evil scientist Yakub, right? Like, no question.
He
doubtless.
He gets enough lumps on his head that he looks like the evil scientist.
I do like the idea of just spinning the wheel of ideology to whoever this dirtbag fucking believes. Dirtbag used not affectionately, by the way.
Georges Fetterman.
Georges
Fetterman.
Everyone works but the vacant lot.
Yeah, so Chuck Schumer knows that Americans love their health insurance companies and they want to spend more time on the phone with them. And so courteously, he, decided to really enable that,
Yeah, I mean, a few people have tried to, say, well, Schumer didn't do this. And it's like, okay, maybe he didn't, but he did lose control of the party. It's kind of like, well, what exactly are we doing
What
here?
is the point? Right, exactly. What exactly would you say it is you do here?
Well, and from what it seems like, even the House is mad at him.
Yeah,
like everybody, like even the Democratic establishment is pissed at him. It's kind of insane to see like unanimously every single person is absolutely fucking furious.
Resign, fuckface.
Yeah, it might be time to hang up the hat, quit while you're ahead.
Retire to spend more time with your imaginary family.
Yeah,
yeah.
Hanging with the Baileys.
Who don't know, Chuck Schumer does frequently consult with imaginary friends for what policies he should vote for.
Yeah, he's like a secular Mormon in that way,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
he has like a kind of prophet, seer, and revelator role.
Well, at least if you're Mormon, other people believe in your imaginary friends too.
And God, the Mormons haven't figured out. The Mormons haven't figured out because God can change his mind.
Yeah.
See, God is a consensus builder, and also you get your own planet when you die. We got to write the Mormon as a bonus episode. We got to have Jordan from Bringing Your Money on here, or Greg, or one of the other ones. I don't know. And yeah, it's coming. Just when I get around to it. Shut up.
So yeah, we did this whole rigmarole for nothing.
Goddamn nothing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Didn't even last long enough for me to get stuck in Europe, which would have been funny at least.
It could have been an expat.
No,
Yeah.
instead we sort of forced the air traffic control people back to work.
Yeah.
And Ronald Reagan's criminal legacy continues.
Yes. In other news, all right, we got to talk about the Hess truck this year.
Oh, it looks like shit,
What the
dude.
fuck
It's
is
not
that?
a truck.
It's not a truck.
That's a what is that? NASCAR?
I
The
do
Hess
like
truck this
it's
year.
back, and it's worse than ever.
It's 2 stock cars. Right?
Mhm.
It's 2 stock cars, a big one and a small one.
Now, notably, 2 cars do not add up to one
Don't talk
truck.
to me or my son
well-
ever again.
The big stock car, you can open up the hood of the big stock car and put the small stock car inside the big stock car.
Yeah,
Russian stock cars.
Yeah, it's a Matryoshka stock car.
Regular cars is gonna have a
This is-
field day with this. This is my big car. This is my
Yeah.
little car. This is my big car. This is my little car.
This is a fucked up thing to do in the Cars universe. This is like some Ed Gein shit to them.
Yeah, well, we never really established how the new cars are made. I guess this is,
Fucking,
know.
they're made by
God.
fucking Ross.
Carvor.
so what do we got? We got, I think, 67 lights, 5 roaring. That's covered up by the Chiron. The small car fits inside the big car. There's a pullback motor,
I mean, I like the pullback
free
motor, I
shipping.
guess, but
Yeah.
for shipping
But
and
it's like,
batteries,
it's
it's
not-
$50 fucking pound sand.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I
The
don't-
economy is
this
fucked. This is downstream of tariffs to me.
This is not a good Hess truck. Because number one, it's not a truck. Right?
No, the children crave like large industrial or commercial vehicle. That's what,
Yeah,
what a
exactly.
truck is. It's got to be on a truck body. This is some real
Yeah, it
like
can't
light
be-
truck exception shit.
Maybe if the big one was like one of those, like the NASCAR truck series, trucks.
Ooh.
Oh, I love
Do
those
you think
Craftsman
Hess- do you think-
series. Yeah, those
Do you
slam
think
trucks.
Hess
They look
know
nasty.
about like the Paris Dakar like truck
Ugh.
rally?
They
'Cause-
must. Someone in that
If
office
they do,
must
get in
know
on
about
that.
that. Yeah.
The Hess truck is a DIF turbo twin and it like kills
Yeah.
you instantly.
Oh god, please, yeah,
That's an episode I want to do at some point in the future.
absolutely. No, this thing sucks. I hate
You
it.
have to teach your kids about the Dakar rally.
Teach
Talk
your
to
children
your
about
kids.
cars.
Talk to your kids about the Paris
Talk
Dakar
to your
rally.
kids about the Dakar rally. Here's how one man
Yeah.
created a truck so powerful it kills you instantly.
I just if you're not familiar, you should look up just Google images, just look up some of these trucks because they look like a big bouncy excitable dog that's really happy to be doing what it's doing, and what it's doing is driving like 60 miles an hour up a sort of near vertical sand dune. It's great.
Yes. Yeah, or like 150 miles an hour over like smooth.
I remember that I wanted to enter the Dakar. They only let professionals do it. And I was real mad. And then Joy yelled at me. She was like, "Why did you think you would be allowed to do the Dakar?" I was like, "I don't know. It just seems like fun." Ross and I can figure
Having
it
a
out.
sort of amateur bracket where you just use
Yeah,
whatever
let us
car,
do
like
it.
whatever
Let us
lemon.
do it. What do you
Yeah.
care?
Dakar.
100% fatality rate.
Lemon's Dakar
I think
is
that
a
there's,
thing
like-
I want.
Yeah.
I think that there's like a pro-am, you can kind of be like sort of an amateur team to enter the Baja if you want to do that.
All right, we got to step up from sponsoring teams to being teams.
This
and-
is why you hired me.
Yes, that's right.
I'm the driver.
What's the most kind of ridiculously dangerous thing we can sign up for? And there's just like a clause buried in there somewhere from like 1924 that says that like wireless enthusiasts are allotted a team spot at Le Mans or something, and we just
Wow.
get to go out there and die.
You go
we've
from
earned this.
New York to Paris. And do you want the Leslie special or do you want the Hannibal Twin 8? I'm always going for Hannibal Twin 8 on that one, actually.
Just we should. There's not enough like silly bullshit in the world, just in general. Still less that we're involved in.
Yeah.
And any kind of motorsport shenanigans like that, they should bring back the Mille Miglia so that we can
They still have
enter it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
you
like
can't
as
die. And
yeah,
kill
they don't
according
let
to
you die.
Wikipedia,
What I
they'll
want
let us
is,
do the
is for us to
Dakar.
go. Let's meet up and race and die. Oh,
That
shit,
sounds like
okay.
fun. Well, we're not going to Saudi Arabia, so we can't do it right now. But when it goes back, we'll do the Dakar.
I was gonna say I don't think
Yeah.
I'm legally allowed to drive in a couple of those countries.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
that
fine, I'll
presents
go
kind of
with
an interesting quandary for their legal system, you know?
Yeah.
All right, motherfuckers. Trans women are women, but only
right.
in the sense that they're not allowed to drive. Love Saudi Arabia.
I see you've observed some of my driving lessons.
I don't know. By that definition, Roz is a trans woman. He can't drive.
Yeah, I was wondering how long that'd take.
Oh, we cracked the egg. Hi, Roz.
All right. All right. Listen, that was the goddamn news.
Oh, he's mad. Salty snail.
We also have to talk about the live shows.
Live shows.
At the Spaghetti Warehouse
Come to the Spaghetti Warehouse.
in
You will
Philadelphia,
be stored
Pennsylvania.
in the Spaghetti Warehouse. You will be accommodated. You will have a good time. But I have to emphasize, we are no longer asking. Come to the podcast live show, or the podcast live show will come to you. Do you want a bottle of wolf urine for hunting purposes purchased from Amazon.com poured into the air vents of your parked car? No? Come to the live show.
Yeah.
That's my ad read.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
there we go.
we
We'll
are
have the-
doing a pair of live shows relatively soon at the Spaghetti Warehouse in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I
Roz, it's called
understand
Union
it's now
Transfer
called
now.
Union Transfer.
There we go.
Okay, right, yeah.
Dead naming
Um,
Union Transfer?
Well, otherwise, I was there more when it was Spaghetti Warehouse than it was when.
It's called Zimbabwe now.
Implying that Spaghetti Warehouse was more of a Rhodesia situation. Just like, there's nothing justified about the existence of Spaghetti Warehouse.
What are the dates? It's like December
December 15th
We'll flash
and
them up on
16th.
screen and also
15th
Yeah.
The link
and
in the
16th.
description.
The links will be in the description. Yeah,
December
it's
14th and
exciting.
15th. Sorry. December 14th and 15th.
14th and 15th. Okay, yeah.
I cannot stress enough, we are not asking. Do not fucking embarrass us.
No, do not fucking embarrass us.
Yeah. We're there with the Quarators. They are a podcast about asking questions on Quora, the question website. It's a very good podcast. Listen to that podcast.
It's a good
Yeah.
podcast, but under no circumstances allow their fans to outnumber our fans.
No,
Yes.
you will
Not
be
permissible.
we'll be doing a wall of death in the parking lot after. But we will also have
Yeah,
exclusive
for
merch.
you will be
saved-
asking some Quora questions of your own, such as, why is this happening to me? How could a loving God watch such agony and do nothing? And please have mercy. That last one isn't even a question, but you'll be asking it unless you come to the live shows.
Yes.
There will be
Also,
the most
in
requested
addition-
piece of merch we've ever had available exclusively at the live show. We have made the piece of merch that I have to tell you what it is because I think Corinne went rogue on it. Hang on.
Hell yeah.
What kind of merch is that?
It's in the chat of the Zencaster. I guess the fans will have to
What have
find
we-
out.
what have we
but
done?
we-
Oh, let's fucking go. Okay.
Yeah,
Ship
we
me a
have-
couple of those.
What is it? Oh.
Don't flash it up,
Oh.
Ross. God damn it, dude. Oh.
What? No, they have to actually know. You can't like tease it.
No, we were supposed to tease
Like, they
it.
have to actually know what it is.
You motherfucker. Yeah.
No, what? What the hell? No, they have to actually know what it is. They can't say, because what if they didn't request that, but they realized, no, I would like some high vis.
Yeah, there's gonna be. Well, there's your problem,
Listen,
branded high vis.
Get the high vis, otherwise you are going to be highly visible to me through a gun sight.
Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, we will.
December 14th and 15th.
November, how do you sell out all your shows? Threats. Violent threats. Credible, violent threats.
Yeah, you can. The
if
fans
you
are going to
don't
learn
come
what
to the
duty
show,
to
we
warn
will
means real
shoot you.
fucking quick.
Unfortunately, unfortunately,
extending castle doctrine to someone else's house.
I'm just going to repeat this from our previous announcement. November's going to have to appear on the video again.
Yeah, I know. It's
because
fucking
the
sucks.
O1 visa process is very difficult for us to accomplish because we have no press whatsoever. So if you work for a newspaper or some other journalism outlet, please write some articles about us.
There are
because it will
exceptions.
make
If your name is Olivia Nuzzi, maybe
I
don't.
showed a picture of my butthole elicited a mere nice, which we've all been there. But the other thing I want to announce is the toy drive is back. I'm gonna parrot what November said and point out that if you do not donate toys, you will be executed. There will be no quarter given to people who do not donate toys. You will be bent over a shallow ditch, which you have dug with your own two hands. I'm not even giving you a shovel. You will be donating gifts to the children.
Wait, so this might be a little excessive. I mean, we can threaten to kill them for not going to the show.
Unlimited genocide on the listener.
You're gonna wind up, killing. How many subscribers do we got?
Not enough.
25,000 on YouTube.
Yeah, if we got 125,000 subscribers,
come to the live shows and donate toys.
There are 650 seats at the live show.
Times 2, 1,100.
A bunch of you are gonna have to sit in each other's laps or get killed.
It's gonna get real
That's just the way it is.
That is.
Why do you think they call it the spaghetti warehouse?
Yeah.
Friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, lovers to enemies, exes to lovers, mpreg tag.
Yeah. All of these things are experiences you will have at There's Your Problem live show.
Yeah, you'll get pregnant.
We're gonna have to shoot a lot of people.
Surely.
Dev, just do your best to bleep enough of this that it doesn't get fucking adult only sign-in
I think it's
required.
good that every single time I'm on an episode, there's a YouTube disclaimer for warnings about self-harm. I think that fits.
This isn't self-harm.
No, this is external harm.
Sort of.
Yeah, it's harm of others.
Others harm.
All right. We'll figure out the logistics behind this later.
Just cut enough to make it visible, and then fine.
We may have to start a gulag anyway. So yeah, come to the show so you don't get sent to the gulag.
Unlimited genocide on the list.
Out of self-preservation, if for no other reason, come to the live shows.
All right.
Wait a second. Because of the fucking visa shit and Trump, right? Technically, physically, I can't come to the live show. So am I obliged to, once I'm done wading through the blood of our listeners, just put me on the list as well?
Nah, you're exempt. We'll put you under comp ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't have to go to the shows because I work here,
Yeah.
Oh, I have a fun story about that. I think I've told this on the show, on the podcast before, but we were playing the Somerville show and I was standing because Rin and Megan work merch. And so Rin, Megan, and Jay were standing around working merch, not doing their goddamn jobs for which I don't pay them. And a woman came up to me and said, "Excuse me, is this the merch line?" And I said, "I just work here." And then she was like, "Oh, okay." And and so I was just like, "The merch line's over here." And she was like, "Okay, thanks." And then the show concluded and we were doing signings and she said, I've never been more mortified in my entire life. She didn't recognize me 1/3 of this podcast, which is fine. It did not hurt my feelings or make me sad in any way, shape, or form, I promise.
But now we've aired your dirty laundry while also
Aha.
announcing our intentions to kill upwards of 6 figures of people.
Yeah, man. That's par for the course on the show.
Said, that was announcements.
I don't have a sting for that. What do you want me to do? I got like
announcements.
With Gareth always 1 to 2 seconds behind Ross and I.
I don't know anything about the Pacific Northwest, so we're handing this off to Victoria.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Pacific Northwest. Hands it to trans women. Typical.
It's true. Yeah, we've actually claimed Capitol Hill in Seattle as our own. We have achieved figures of upwards of like 10% of the city, and we also have a woke mayor now. So that's my news.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
We have woke mayor. We have woke city council. We have about as woke as a city attorney as you can possibly get, which is to say, an ex-prosecutor or one that doesn't like Trump. So we'll take it. Yeah. So to figure out what happened with the Amtrak Cascades derailment, first we have to ask, what is the city of Tacoma?
Seattle's uglier sister.
This train station fucking rules.
Yeah, it's still there. They don't have any
everywhere I go, something reminds me of her.
Responses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
the big like Belle Epoch like dome here. Oh my God.
I was gonna say this is I was kind of gonna go with the Tacoma, sort of Pacific Northwest's Trenton. It makes, the world takes.
Yes.
It was kind of like the more industrial city. Basically, in 1865, there was a Civil War vet who came out west to try to make his fortune or whatever. And he paddled around Puget Sound looking for a spot of land that he was going to claim as his. And he put a cabin down in what is modern day Tacoma on the shores of Commencement Bay, specifically on the least sloped, like flattest edge of the bay, because he was like, Northern Pacific is building a railroad up here and they're going to need some land, and I'm going to make a fortune when they pick this spot. And this is 1865. Nobody lived in Tacoma. Man. Yeah, nobody lived in Tacoma except for like native people, because like there were, at this point the territorial capital was Olympia, which is, I don't know, 30 or 40 miles like southwest of Tacoma, or they lived in Seattle, which is 25 or 30 miles north, on the shores of Elliott Bay. And Seattle at this point is like up and coming. It's kind of like a logging town. They still hadn't figured out how to not dump raw sewage into the Puget Sound and then flood the streets with shit piss every high tide, but they were getting there.
I sense judgment. I sense a lot of judgment in that.
What do you want, Paris?
I mean, it's like that's a very
piss and shit everywhere kind of is Paris.
That's true,
Yeah,
especially in 1865.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Seattle is that like it used to be like just an entire environmental apocalypse, and we managed to clean it up to the point where sometimes there are whales. So no, I mean, but it was still kind of like Seattle was not a city. Like SF is way bigger at this point. It's not really like a place people. There are a ton of people, but it's definitely bigger than Tacoma. So, for the next decade, this basically goes unchanged. Tacoma is like a village of like 50 people, 50 settlers, I should say. There's, natives still up here in this era. And then, Seattle's an actual city with like money and industry and jobs. And by the middle of the year, Great Northern had their rail link in Tenino, Washington, which is south of Olympia. And they had until December 19th, 1873 to finish their transcontinental railroad, or they would lose all of the federal land grants that they had been given to build it. They would revert back to the government. They'd lose, they were basically borrowing money off of the value of these grants, so they would be completely and utterly destroyed.
I love a whimsical federal government that's, sort of like around the world in 80 days type shit.
Yeah, well, and they've been working on this for a while, and completion of a transcontinental railroad is you have to hit saltwater, somewhere, and the Puget Sound is saltwater because it connects to the Pacific Ocean. So they're like, all right, we just have to get here as fast as possible.
Hit
And,
salt water, thousands of miles of rail rust instantly. It just travels up it, you know.
Yeah, capillary effect. It's like when you you know what I mean. It's like when you pour a bunch of water into a cup, surface tension. No, that's not capillary effect. Whatever.
We'll
Anyway,
figure out what the fucking capillary
I'm not a
effect is.
scientist. I just drive cars. So, Seattle at this point is offering like a bunch of money, and they've got a prime real estate they're going to give to the railroad, and they're like, okay, we got this on lock. And lo and behold, the job car, the man who put his cabin down in Tacoma, next slide please, was correct. This is not job car. This is the next guy. 1 second. They picked. So Northern Pacific is looking around and they're like, okay, we just have to finish this thing as fast as possible. We have like less than 6 months to complete our transcontinental railroad. And it just so happens that, there's a bunch of prairie land south of Tacoma, and they can build it in basically they can lay down rails as fast as humanly possible. So
total vindication for one insane kayaker / homesteader.
Yes. Yeah.
Man successfully prospected a railroad terminus.
8 years before it even got there. Like, it was like, for a guy.
He's like, these guys are going to finish it in the stupidest way possible. I'm pretty stupid too. Yeah. Only a stupid guy can predict another stupid guy's actions.
Yeah, but it paid off perfectly. So of course they start laying rails heading towards Tacoma. This is July. By September of 1873, J. Cook and Company, which was the first wire service bank in America, was collapsing. It was Northern Pacific's primary lender and like the source of all of their gold to pay the workers to build the railroad.
The banks are out of money. Stop.
Well, this is before you had like a centralized currency. So you needed like actual gold to back up the banknotes and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
the bank is out of gold. Stop.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because this is like the beginning of sort of like an early understanding of what monetary policy would become. Because part of the reason they collapsed is because they were just over leveraged to shit building this incredible money sink of a railroad. Because Northern Pacific was kind of operating off of if we lay more rails, we'll just make more money sort of operating strategy.
Yeah. Oh my god, they were OpenAI for railroads.
Oh my god, so much of this
at the very least they got land grants. Like the land grants made a lot of sense.
Well, they did, but also at the same time, like most of this land was totally worthless, in like a monetary sense, unless the railroad actually ran through and went places. Which, if your railroad is like disjoint and incomplete, it's not doing. Which is kind of a lot of the West Coast operations in 1873. So they had a lot of land.
Demand for one transcontinental railroad at this point, let alone the 3 that were being built.
Yeah. So one half is that the railroad itself is kind of a bad idea. The second was because there had been so much mining out west that there was actually a glut of silver on the market. And it was it was creating massive inflation. And so what ended up happening was, you had inflation at home. And what companies would do is they would basically ship off a bunch of silver immediately overseas, where there wasn't the same inflationary pressure to hire, usually like Chinese workers to come over and then work on the railroads, basically taking advantage of like early currency exchange rates. And so basically it meant that there was not much cash, and also like inflation had driven the value of what there was lower. And you get a bank run, and all of a sudden, basically you start with a bank panic and the American economy gets wiped out. So this is September when this begins, and by November, the workers had now not been paid for 3 months. And they were hearing that they weren't going to get paid again. And so they struck in late November of 1873. They are like, I couldn't find an exact source for how far they were, but I think it was within like 10 miles of salt water. And,
just
they
like
have
sort
like
of 10 feet away from this guy's log cabin. He's just like
Yes.
tearing his hair out.
And
Yeah,
all
so-
the guys who talk about going back to the gold standard, this is the economy they want to go back to.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like it's wild because so much of this is just like it does kind of feel like the U.S. sort of operated off of like an Anne Prim philosophy for like the first couple hundred years it was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, yeah, if somebody's on land you want, you can just kill them, and then also like you can,
Yeah.
if
Think
you
of
can
them as a
build a
fan of the
railroad
show.
fast enough, you win.
Yeah.
Huh?
I
But
said,
also,
think of them as a
like,
fan of the show.
yeah, from like, I don't know, from the end of the Civil War to the 30s. Yeah, we just have a horrible depression every 10 years.
Yeah. Panic of 1871. A lot of that. I wrote my undergrad thesis on that.
Yeah. 71, 93. There's one in the 1880s too. We used to
Yes.
have a panic. We used to have panics. We don't have that anymore. We have recessions.
Roz, we had
now.
the I was gonna say we had the Great Recession like 15 years ago, man.
Yeah, but that wasn't a panic.
You're right.
I was pretty anxious.
We barely have like incidents anymore as well.
Yeah.
Like
Now we got. No, we don't have to go back to having panics. Excuse me. We need to have sound monetary
Return
policy.
guy, but only for monetary panics.
Yeah.
Wanting to go back to the gold standard, but just because you think it's good to get a little adrenaline going because the panics keep capital limber.
I want to see some guys jump off of the stock exchange building. Come on now. No,
So-
sound monetary policy. Let's go.
So this is General John Sprague. He was a Union Civil War vet who was quite accomplished. He joined in like Sherman's March to the Sea, and he
looks like the kind of guy who would do that. That is not
Yeah.
a moustache that hides a secret smile. It's a moustache that hides a second angrier moustache.
Jamie Heineman type facial hair.
Yeah.
Jesus, I just realized I plagiarized that joke from a cracked.com article. I will add myself to the list of people who will be killed for not attending the live show, maybe.
Oh, damn.
Well,
Well,
that's
this man
shame, 'cause-
is he is a walrus. We are looking at a walrus.
Yeah.
Angry looking man.
Yeah.
It's like how do you want your lithograph taken? Furious.
Mad.
But yeah, so he's superintendent of the Northern Pacific and overseeing building this section of the rail. And of course the local cops are like, let's start a war. Let's kill all of the strikers. Let's murder literally everybody here.
Yeah, and then they found out about the strike, which, sort of redoubled their conviction to do that.
The cop literally rolled up to the strikers when they had barricaded themselves in and was like began reading the riot act and was like literally ready to go to war. And this guy was like, let's not. He was
It's probably a bad idea.
he was, I think it was it's hard to like ascribe sort of reasoning to him, centuries later. But part of it is kind of like these are all Civil War vets. Some people, it may evoke memories of who we served with. Part of it is also like, wow, these guys are probably insane. We haven't paid them for 3 months. They're they have the sympathies of literally everybody around us. We're gonna get absolutely fucking wiped out. So he negotiated a settlement where he and a bunch of the other execs started withdrawing money from their personal bank accounts, and working with like literally every shop and saloon in the area to like give them basically script that they could spend there, because he was like, look, we have got to finish this railroad by any means possible, because if we don't finish it in the next 3 weeks, we lose all of the land, and this was all for naught, and we're all basically bankrupt forever.
And for reference here, the land grants for these transcontinental railroads, they were generally like, okay, you have every other square mile in a checkerboard pattern or like some number of miles away from the actual railroad right of way.
Yeah.
So for the for the Northern Pacific, I mean, in the mountains that was not so valuable except for timber. But if you're going from like oh god, where did the Northern Pacific start? I mean, it started from Chicago to some extent, but
they have
going
roots. They had roots up north too, I think, in like the Dakotas and Montana and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean they went through the southern part of Montana. That's still perfectly like viable like agricultural land. Like this was big bucks they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and actually it's fun if you look at like a BLM survey map today, you can actually still kind of see the checkerboard pattern in a lot of places, because you'll see where the government owns lands and sort of like that checkerboard around railroad tracks and stuff, and then a lot of it's been transferred away from the railroads, but like you can actually see the original like grant patterns overlaid over top of like Nevada, where the Union Pacific line cuts through, which I think
And also like logging in the Pacific Northwest follows that same pattern.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy to look at.
We striate the terrain,
Yeah.
Sorry. Next slide,
Doing
please.
great.
Yeah, I quit smoking this week, so I'm like extra phlegmy.
Good job.
I thanks. I picked it back up for Month of Hell, and I was like, all right, Month of Hell's over. Time to stop poisoning myself. Anyway, this is an artist's rendition of what Tacoma looked like in, I believe, like the mid 1880s. You can tell there's not a lot there. That's Mount Rainier. So
it looks like Japan.
I was about to say that looks like Fuji to me.
Yeah.
Some lovely tall ships in the foreground.
Yeah.
Rainier and Mount Fuji are part of the same chain of volcanoes.
People didn't know this, but actually Seattle and Tacoma were part of a closed country system until the railroad arrived and forced them to be open.
This is sort of this is the anime version of the Appalachians.
Yeah, we're trying to reclose it so all the racists and like transphobes on the other side of the Cascade stop coming over to beat up people. We're working on that.
You got to force them into, like, based on my study of history, you got to force them to interact with you at specific named ports, and then that way you have a kind of designated chud zone, and you can acquire kind of chud knowledge.
You have to use the Dutch as a go-between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Dutch would be the chuds in this.
Those motherfuckers lost
I
me
guess
$500.
so, yeah. All right, here's the thing about the Dutch, right?
Yeah, get it.
From going to Amsterdam once.
Please.
All right, here's the thing. I was so excited to go ride a bicycle in Amsterdam. And the infrastructure is great. Everything's fantastic. Then you get the fucking bicycle. The bicycles suck shit. Holy fuck. They all have coaster brakes. I got on the bicycle and I was like, something's off here. I can't stop. Oh shit, there's no brakes. Fuck.
Just put your legs down, I'm sure a Dutch person will say extremely securely.
Yes, that did happen.
What do you mean by I'm sorry, I'm stupid. What are coaster brakes on a bicycle?
Coaster. So, you know how you were a kid and you pedal backwards to stop the bike?
Oh my god, they have that for adults?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's like the main.
I'm supposed to revere these fucking people that can't even build a bicycle properly.
If you build enough of the infrastructure around it, nobody will question why the actual bike is bad.
Well, I understand why they need such great bicycle infrastructure, because the bicycles themselves suck so bad. Anyway, this is going to be this is a whole other subject. I shouldn't bring this up, but I was
doing
like, I need to bring
this up. An entire episode on the bicycles you rode in.
Yeah, no,
Amsterdam.
yeah, no. We're gonna have to do a new episode. Bicycles suck shit in the Netherlands. And I don't know. We'll get not just bikes back on and berate them the whole time, but this is a different situation. Yeah, we got to talk about trains today.
I would be remiss during this conversation to not mention my favorite thing that makes fun of the Dutch that my wife introduced me to, which is the Stephen Sondheim musical Pacific Overtures, which has an entire song about how goofy the Dutch are. It's an all-time moment in making fun of Europeans. Anyway, so December 16th, 1873, with 3 days before they lose all of their federal land grants, the Northern Pacific hit saltwater on the shore of Commencement Bay in Tacoma.
It's the like Indiana Jones reaching in under the thing to grab the hat, except it's like a railway engineer's hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some high vis from Network Rail.
Sprague drove the final or spike rather, into the rails, and they've got their rail link. Now, of course, this was about the most rushed train line that had ever been constructed, because not only they have no time, but then they got delayed by striking, and Tacoma has nothing in it really. They've started clear cutting everything to make timber for trestles or whatever, but they basically, they're importing a lot of stuff, they're importing a lot of labor, so they basically were like, yeah, that looks possible, let's go for it. And this showed, because like as they were bringing supply trains up, they laid down a train because the grade was just laid so poorly. It was just, this is the final essay at 11:58 p.m. the night before the due date of railroad lines.
Oh yeah, really, really funny to derail a train on the way into the place selected to be the flattest place where it would be hardest to derail a train.
Yeah, well, the thing is about the Pacific Northwest is that like flat here is a very relative term. Seattle is like insanely hilly, and like our flat streets are, I think, for a lot of like, if you're used to the Dakotas and Montana, you come out here and like, oh, holy shit, everything is sideways. What's happening? But anyway, I found like newspaper reports from the era where they had to like dig the cook out of the roof of the mess car, and because they just overturned the train trying to race this thing to the finish. So next slide, please.
Yeah, this was also relatively common for like transcontinental railroads in general, just because you were racing for the for the land grants. You would a lot of these railroads were built with the idea that, okay, we build the railroad, and then once we're finished, then we build the good railroad.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post, but for railroad construction.
Exactly.
Having Devin go back and like straighten your ties.
Yeah.
So this dotted line here from Tenino to Tacoma is this line that was built. That was the initial construction of the transcontinental link. In 1891, the Tacoma, Olympia, and Grays Harbor Railroad added the leftward bend from Lakeview to Lacey. Lakeview is now currently like southern Tacoma. That in 1891 completes the rail line that we now know more or less as the Point Defiance bypass. So it's just sitting there, and it's going to wait about 120 years for us to get to the rest of the episode.
It's sitting there, and then we can sort of see the whole timeline of it leading inexorably to, well, there's your problem.
Yeah. Yes. So the thing about this route is, it's 2.2% grade for like 12 miles, and this is kind of a pain for trains of the era to traverse, because it's steep and consistently steep. So they start looking into alternative routes, and they end up building the Northern Pacific builds a waterfront line that is around the edge of the Puget Sound through Point Defiance to Tacoma, and that one's much flatter. And they end up cutting 2 rail tunnels through it, and so by the 40s, most passenger traffic was using the long flat line that went around the Puget Sound itself, and traffic on this original sort of, as they call it, the Prairie Line, diminished as Northern Pacific stopped shipping as many freight trains out. After Burlington Northern, was created in 1970 from Great Northern and Northern Pacific merging, they widened the clearances on the Point Defiance line to allow oversized Boeing freight trains to get through it. And so by 73, this original line, 100 years after it was laid down, was basically no longer used. It just kind of sat here. There was a couple of locals on it, but there was not like any through traffic. So yeah, if you want to go to the next slide, please.
Oh yeah.
This is the Boeing oversized freight. This is actually my staff photo. I would like credit for this one.
Absolutely sick.
You can tell that it was taken by you because it's a good photo.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's at the rail yard here, one of the rail yards here in Seattle. They actually just run these sometimes. You can catch them, and it's wild. It's just an entire 737 fuselage.
Yeah, for those of you who are on audio here, what you see is an entire 737 fuselage that came up from Kansas, which is on a railroad, 2 railroad flat cars. They just run these trains fairly frequently up to Renton, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like a horrible siding. It's like 5% grade. They got to haul all these things up. Good thing it's pretty light cargo because it's an airplane.
Doing a kind of ground-based 9/11.
I
Second
was
flat
waiting.
car has hit the Boeing fuselage.
I was waiting for the Sounder, which is the sound transit name for a regional rail, which
Why
I'm
is it
sure.
called?
Yeah, I
you
don't
can't-
know.
You can't call it that.
I know they did, and the font they use for it is also terrible. So it's just I'm not a big fan. But in any case,
Wait,
I was waiting on the platform, and one of
that fucking thing. Oh fuck!
What?
That took me. Then I remember what it. Wow, shit! God damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise known as one of the many people's hard limits for those who have thought about it. In any case,
Yeah.
I was standing in
Yeah.
the King Street station, and an entire BNSF train just made up of like 15 fuselages came through, and I have never foamed so hard in my life. I was like fumbling for my phone, like visibly, like tears running down my face. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. I think the engineer was like, "Is she okay?" Like they've got to be used to like seeing like abnormally tall, overly excited women next to the tracks in Seattle of all places. But I feel like I really kind of elevated it that day. It is really cool. It combines train and plane, which both good. Anyway, that's all I got about that. We can go to the next slide.
So hold on. I'm gonna take over here for a second, but
Please.
I do want to
Train
do
code.
one thing, which is check on the chili. I'll be right back.
Listen, that kind of sort of helicopter parenting is very important.
What if I got a beer?
That's
Good beer.
allowed. I'm experiencing some agonies.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna
sorry
grab a
about your
beer though. I'll be
agonies.
right back.
No, it's
I'll be
okay.
here with
My
you, Nova.
agonies
I'm right here with you.
my agonies are quite funny in this case. So in a sort of like desperate attempt to maintain general hygiene while being sick, like really sick, I've been washing my hands a lot.
Right.
Which means I have like badly dried out and cracked all of the skin on the back of my hands.
Oh no.
And I went
That
looking
happens to
because
Ren all
I
the
was like
time.
sort
I
of
feel
in
awful. No, it's
yeah,
really
I was
painful.
like in sort of moderate agony looking for some like hand cream for this, and what I alighted on was some cocoa butter. And while I'm sure it is moisturizing the absolute fuck out of this skin, that shit hurts. That burns. So I don't know. I will see whether or not this is the good kind of burning or the bad kind of burning. But just another day in sort of like dipshitville,
Hi, it's Justin. So this is a commercial for the podcast that you're already listening to. People are annoyed by these, so let me get to the point. We have this thing called Patreon, right? The deal is you give us $2 a month, and we give you an extra episode once a month. Sometimes it's a little inconsistent, but it's $2. You get what you pay for. It also gets you our full back catalog of bonus episodes, so you can learn about exciting topics like guns, pickup trucks, or pickup trucks with guns on them. The money we raise through Patreon goes to making sure that the only ad you hear on this podcast is this one. Anyway, that's something to consider if you have $2 to spare each month. Join at patreon.com/WTYP pod. Do it if you want. Or don't. It's your decision, and we respect that. Back to the show. Wait for Liam to come back. God damn it. Temperature was too low on the chili, but I've now rectified that. I was too conservative. This is I will have to be punished for my reactionary tendencies.
Chili, a dish that rewards audacity in a chef, I believe.
Yes. Well, no, I use audition because I'm bourgeois.
That one really got you, huh?
Yeah, it took me a second. So by the time it's kind of like chili. Like the joke steeped for a little bit, and then it really hit me.
And I'm back.
All right,
Hi, Bert.
excellent. We're going to do a second sync point. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, Matthew. In order to keep these separate, we're going to use a different book of the Bible each time. Right. Or excuse me, 3, 2, 1, Matthew. So 3, 2, 1, Matthew.
Really good visual of you almost clapping Bert in the tail there.
He's fine.
All right, this better not happen 3 more times because I only got Luke and John left.
After that, you're into the like deuterocanonical stuff.
Yeah.
Apocrypha.
We're
The
just gonna
first,
do like
first letter to the Philadelphians or something.
You guys gotta stop being so fucking weird.
Yeah. Okay, so this sort of thing that eventually becomes to be known as the Cascades service, between like Seattle and Tacoma and Portland and Vancouver and Eugene and I don't know what else is up there, Yakima or some bullshit, right? This sort of by the late 60s is like a daily train between Seattle and Portland, and a few horrible long distance trains. You have the Pacific International. You have some kind of train that goes down the Oregon Short Line to Salt Lake City. The Oregon Short Line sort of followed the Oregon Trail, where you may have, shot several animals.
Dump
in
the wagon
elementary
into
school.
a river. Yeah.
Cock the wagons and float, so on and so forth. So only like the International and the train called the Mount Rainier served local markets. The Mount Rainier went from Seattle to Portland and Portland to Seattle one time a day. The International went from Seattle to Vancouver and Vancouver to Seattle once a day, right? There was the Coast Starlight that went from Seattle to San Diego. That's not for local markets. And you had, what was the other one? The Pioneer was the one that went to Salt Lake City. So this was not great for local service, which was a market that seemed to generally work because Seattle and Portland are not too far away from each other. They're both pretty walkable, even back in the 70s when Amtrak was created. So it made a lot of sense to say, well, gee, maybe we should improve this service. But it took several decades before Amtrak really seriously started considering maybe we should put a few more trains on this corridor.
I really love the mess of cars in this, what appears to be like an in-era slide, too.
Yes, this is early Mount Rainier train. This is shortly after Amtrak took over. You got Northern Pacific cars. You've got Burlington Northern cars. You've got some stainless steel ones. You got it's sort of, they put together whatever the hell worked.
The train of many colors, yes.
Yes. But, it took a few decades again before Amtrak really responded. And, they picked an interesting sort of train. And in order to talk about that, we have to go back in time a little bit and talk about Talgo.
Oh my God.
What the fuck is that haunted clown train?
Oh, that's all. I like the cloud catcher, the cow catcher. That's also
it looks like it wants to eat my skin.
I want to wear you like
Permanently
a suit.
changing my vocabulary with that.
This is the Talgo 1. This is where it
Don't
all
tell me
began.
there's more of them.
So, in the late 1930s, Alejandro
Uh-huh.
someone else do this. It's Spanish. That and Jose Luis Oriol.
like the baseball team, yeah.
Yeah,
Go
sure,
on,
whatever.
Zoe.
They're two Spaniards. They have a vision.
Yeah,
What
they
if
could
we
call
made
it
a
That vision,
really-
their vision is, what if we put a kind of Thomas the Tank Engine character in the Hannibal Lecter mask?
Yeah. What if we made a really fucked up looking train with the weird suspension?
I mean,
So-
I guess it would be bad. Don't do that.
Oh, no, that's the problem. It was good. So the idea here is very simple. It was very new for Spain at the time, right? Train, it's all made of aluminum. None of that steel. It's all aluminum.
Huh.
It's lighter and the cars are smaller, right? So it can use fewer wheels. The center of gravity is really low, so it's harder to tip over, and it tends to cant less in curves, right? It doesn't like swing out as much. That means you can go faster. How
This
does this
weird
work?
little clown bug.
Yeah, it's a weird little horrible train. Now, to explain this, we have to look at a normal train. Here is a big Pennsylvania Railroad P70 coach, which is actually here. It's Pennsylvania Reading Seashore Lines. Your normal coach, you got 8 wheels on 2 trucks, right? You got a fairly high center of gravity up here. If it's on a curve, right? Here's the car. Here's the car. It's a box here. Well, actually, no. Hold on. And we got the clear story. And yeah, okay. So here's the car, and it's here's the wheels, right? Right. And then there's an axle, and then there's so on and so forth. So and then there's the rails here, right? Okay. So when this goes around a curve that's going this way, right? It has a tendency to lean over to the outside rail, right? And this sort of tends to have the perception of increasing the G-forces inside the car on the passengers, right? Who are also
Vomit
forced out
comet,
that
baby.
way. Yeah, exactly. So you can't go that fast, right?
Getting a real East Coast mainline experience.
Exactly. So, this is because, again, the center of gravity is relatively high. Even though this is an old-fashioned heavyweight car where, the floor is actually like 6 inches of concrete. But, that's just how heavy everything was at the time, right? The Talgo cars, and they evolved pretty quickly from the horrible clown train in the first slide. Talgo cars are much more low slung, right? You can see here they're very short. And so they have a lower center of gravity, right, for each car. What this means is you can go a lot faster around curves without the cars sort of leaning outwards, right? So this increases passenger comfort because ultimately the thing that limits train speed is not, derailing on the curve. It's, spilling drinks in the cafe car, right?
Yeah, the weakest link in that chain is the passenger wanting to arrive comfortable,
Exactly.
You could achieve greatness if you just sacrificed your need to not spill your drink over yourself.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm not gonna lie, having ridden cross-country Amtrak recently, I feel like passenger discomfort is not the limiting factor.
So this example, this is a Talgo train. This is the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad's John Quincy Adams. They were an early adopter. I was desperate to figure out how the hell this thing made it into either Penn Station or Grand Central, because as far as I know, they can only board at low platforms. I have no idea. So,
Step
right
onto
in
the
the
roof
comments.
and climb in through the
I
like.
guess so.
Oh
hatch,
yeah, like a
you know?
NASCAR. Yeah.
Believe the New York Central or the Boston and Albany or someone else had a similar train called the Explorer, right? The early Talgos, they were moderately successful in the United States. There was some precedent there. They were much more successful in, Spain, where they were from, right? Um, the other thing about the Talgos is, of course, you have a much shorter passenger car, right? And rather than having four or two sets of four-wheel trucks, each car has two wheels in total, and they're shared between two cars each.
Legally a motorbike.
Yes. So Talgo is actually an incredible success in Europe, less so in the United States in the early years.
That's because we have taste and don't want to get the haunted clown train.
Well, that's also because we decided passenger trains weren't real around the time that it made sense to buy Talgos, right?
Oh, motherfucker.
I'd start to decide that around the time of that if I'd seen Talgo 1.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It haunts my fucking nightmares now.
So the early Talgos, they're very successful at providing a lot more passenger comfort, using these weird, these very weird train cars. I mean, they work great. They're very good. I'm not the guy here to denigrate Talgo technology.
You should be.
If
Look
you
at the
use
fucking
it properly,
thing.
it works really good. But then it got better, right? So we have to understand how these cars work. So in order to do this, we had a friend cut one open for us. So a couple of things you can notice here is that you have, so here's the wheels, right? The wheels are actually not linked by a solid axle. They're two separate units, right? That go through this like aluminum frame here. That means that, among other things, the wheels spin independently. You're never going to get things like flange squeal as a result. Again, the center of gravity is very, very low. And you can see here the suspension goes all the way up to the top where the car is actually mounted to the wheels, right? This is very good for going fast. In the 1970s, the Talgo Corporation realizes, oh, wait, we can go further here with the Talgo Pendular, right?
Sick name already.
Yes. So the idea here is we have the suspension system. What if we let the train tilt a bit, right? Because of how the suspension is mounted, you have a very low center of gravity, but you have a very high pivot point, which is actually above the physical limits of the car, right? So when this car goes around a corner, the bottom swings outwards. As a result, it is a tilting train with no hydraulics, no active systems, entirely passive.
Huh.
The APT, fuck that shit. Don't need any of that shit.
Costs too much money.
Is just,
do it on the cheap. Yeah.
Just basic physics causes this train to tilt in such a way as to increase passenger comfort and allow the train to go much faster than it otherwise could have. This is a brilliant system. It's really good. Talgo is cool. So when you're looking at old-fashioned, very curvy lines, such as you might find in the Pacific Northwest, this is a natural system to say, let's give this a shot. Other advantages that Talco had is that they manufactured their own power systems, and they had an integrated bag. They had a whole bunch of stuff that meant that you could deploy these pretty much anywhere very quickly and cheaply. It was a whole self-contained system, which is one of the reasons why it had so much success internationally, and
Building the
continues
train
to this
version of-
day.
building the train AK.
Yeah. So Amtrak gets a test set of some kind. They run in the Pacific Northwest for a while. They call it the Pacific Talgo or something. They are so pleased with it that they eventually order their own sets. The Talgo 6, right? You can see a train set here.
I love
on-
the little cat ears in the baggage cars.
Oh yeah, the cat ears
yeah.
are really cool. I love those. I had the fortune to ride these once, but I was very small, so I don't remember much of the trip, other than we got stuck behind the American Orient Express, which broke down.
Yep.
Yeah, it was at Pacific Station in Vancouver or whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's... No,
It was
this
at
tracks.
that moment that the fires of communism were lit within your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
What if
Well,
a
I
train
remember
but good?
distinctly there was someone in front of us in the next booth, because I was with my family. Someone in front of us in the next booth was calling someone. It was like, yeah, the train in front of us, it's overhanging the platform, so we can't. Yeah, it's a $3,000 train.
Just anger sort of building. It's like season 1 of Andor.
Yeah, it's a $3,000 train in 2002 or something as well.
Jesus.
So these Talgo trains are used to expand what becomes the Cascade service, right? The Cascade service becomes a corridor between Vancouver and, I don't know, Eugene.
Well, so they run a train from Portland to Seattle, and they run one from Vancouver to Seattle. That no train completes the whole route, but
okay.
they run between 6 and 8 of them a day. I can't remember. They changed service a bunch with COVID.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know anything about that coast.
We have the one train.
Yeah.
I've taken it once, and it was I didn't get to ride the Talgo for reasons you'll discover, and
yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so they get this Talgo pendular. It works really good. They do some basic modifications to the lines to allow these, such as putting in new speed limit signs. Look, you can see here, this says P70. That's for passenger trains, 70 miles an hour. But T, that's 79. That's for the Talgos.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it 79? Because after
Americans are scared
Naperville,
of real speeds.
yeah, after Naperville, you could only do 80 if you had cab signaling. They didn't go that far. You also had to add a bunch of other safety systems, to protect from overspeed and, so on and so forth, right? Which will be relevant later. But anyway, yeah, these are very cool train cars. They had a very fancy bistro car with a bunch of bespoke, nice glasswork. And we'll talk about that later.
Wild to use them with these locomotives as well. It's beautiful sort of
They
European
still use
sports
those.
car.
So they still use those locomotives as well, but they've gutted all the engines out of them, and they use them as baggage cars.
Yeah. So this
Oh.
is an F40, which has been converted to baggage, right? Well, the door is actually back here.
That one isn't. That's actually from before it was converted to baggage, I think, because now they
Oh.
have just a big sliding garage door on the side of them.
They call them cabbages. On the other end, there's a F59 PHI, which is actually more streamlined and designed for the thing. But these guys, whatever.
I think they're cute.
Yeah, I like them.
It's trying its best. It's like an old trusty Toyota pickup or something.
I mean,
It's
any
like
any
gets the
excuse
job
to
done.
have the cat ears. Plus, it gives you the nice little swoop sort of line down the
Yeah,
side.
cat-eared locomotive. That's very much a Pacific Northwest kind of thing.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
F-40s were good for 110, so it goes as fast as you need it to, which is 79. This is what if you're a car guy, you might call this a slow fast train.
Oh yeah.
Because it goes 80 miles an hour, but it's a fast 80 miles an hour.
Yeah. It's like an old 80s turbo car where it's like it takes you 7 seconds to get to 60, but you're like, damn, it sounds so cool. Rowing through the gears, it's like screaming, and you look down and you're like 35. You're like, oh, hell yeah.
So that's Talgo technology right here, which allows you to go faster on slow track. Anyway, back to Victoria.
So do you remember that thing I was talking about earlier where they built this rail line in the 1890s? Well, so 2006 rolls around, and Amtrak is like, hey, so we have this huge checkpoint up here at the Nelson Bennett Tunnel at the edge of Point Defiance, because this has been converted to single track, and it also serves freight. And it's constraining our ability to run as many trains as we want. And if we want to do high speed service someday, because they've been talking about doing like an actual high speed rail line in the Pacific Northwest since about 2000. We do not have one, but they dream big. So they're like, what if we bypass this? Sound Transit, which is Seattle's regional rail operator that runs the aforementioned Sounder, already owns most of this right of way, highlighted in red here from Tacoma to DuPont. And they use the Lakewood stop as like one of their stations for the Sounder. What if we just modernize this whole section of rail so we can actually run, the Talgo trains on it? We can skip this whole section. It should save us it won't save a ton of time. I think they were projecting like 10, 15 minutes, but it allows us to run with a lot more reliability. And also, when we do further high speed upgrades in the future, we already have this trackage here that's like a lot more suitable.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with if you're sharing with freight railroads, they don't like the idea that they gotta upgrade their trains with stuff like cab signaling or modern signaling systems in general. They're kind of like, I don't know, I think I'm fine running trains at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, and also trains that are notably too long to fit in sidings, so you can't let Amtrak's pass. And, as I discovered on my recent cross-country trip on the Empire Builder, which was certainly an experience. They're still using Superliner 1s on those. I had a car that was from the Carter admin on that trip, actually.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was hell yeah until the toilet stopped working.
Oh, that's good.
Which happened like 3 separate times on the 2.5-day trip.
You are now a living history reenactor.
Yeah. It felt, we were describing the Oregon Trail segment earlier, and it's like, yeah, I almost died of dysentery on Amtrak. That'd be a good shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I almost died of dysentery not on Amtrak, just like the last few days, so I'm with you. But
yeah. One of those things about like Amtrak is the Amtrak long distance trains is like, okay, you wake up in the morning on day 2. That's when the big, horrible cardboard trash cans have come out in the toilets.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, God.
Yeah. No, it was certainly an experience. The coach seats get less comfortable every night you sleep on them, too.
Or you get the roomettes, the roomettes and the old Viewliners that have the toilet in the room, but like not like in a separate room, but like it's in the room. That's like, I'm going to go to another car and use
I'm going to poop in somebody else's bathroom. Fuck this.
Yeah. I don't shit where I eat. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Tacoma to Lakewood section here roughly corresponds to the original route that was laid down by the great by Northern Pacific in 1873. The Lakewood to DuPont section is that prairie line, that extension line that was built by the Tacoma and Grays Harbor in the 1890s. But it's been more or less sitting here waiting for them to be like, hey, we have these tracks, let's use them. So the initial budget is like $500 million. But then, 2008 hits, and they're like, okay, we have limited federal funding and limited appetite to spend all this money. So they get 800 million from the feds for the stimulus project, and they spread it all across the state. They spend 181 million dollars on this section of line. And the feds attach a deadline of 2017 to finish all this work, or otherwise they run out of money and they don't get any money anymore.
History rhyming. Perfect.
So they're like, okay, we got to hurry up and finish this section. So, they modernize all of this so they can run the talgos on it, and it's kind of coming down to the wire. But, wait, I'll start with the next side's text, and then we can switch. On December 18th, 2017, at 7:33 a.m., 144 years and 2 days after the first trackage was laid on what is the right-of-way for this route, on its maiden passenger voyage on the newly completed Point Defiance bypass. Next slide, please. The Amtrak Cascades speeds through a 30-mile-an-hour curve at 78 miles an hour, derails, falls off a bridge, and lands on Interstate 5 beneath it, completely blocking southbound I-5 and crushing a bunch of cars.
Incredible. Just like we set this bomb for our great-great-grandchildren to find.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a picture of the accident aftermath. You can see all of those pretty Talgo cars completely destroyed. Next slide, please. It's worth noting that this really does just completely block off Interstate 5 South. The train, every single car on the train except for the trailing locomotive derailed. There were 83 people aboard. Three of the passengers died. 65 people were injured, including people in the cars below, on the tracks. I don't know how anybody below didn't die because the train was just literally dropping on top of SUVs and stuff. It's insane. Yeah. Looking through the NTSB report, it is 3 people feels like a miracle. The 3 killed passengers were all foamers who were riding to celebrate the new bypass opening, which does feel like, it's rail fans dying in the line of duty, and for that I salute them. This is,
3 orders of Lenin.
Yeah, 3. Yes. But I mean,
That's really sad and pointless, and yeah, no, that sucks.
Yeah, extremely. But I do salute them for being there to ride. I've ridden so many first day transit things that it's actually very I totally get that kind of moment.
This is one of the reasons why I wait till day 2 or 3.
Yeah, what everyone else.
Nah, I always get so excited. I'm like, I want to say that I rode it. So, and I mean, you ride an Amtrak and they have accidents and stuff, but generally speaking, it's assumed the train is safe.
Bad.
Yeah.
Train safe, car dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean this was really bad for the entire Pacific Northwest because they closed down all of I-5 South. And it's an hour and a half because of the geography of the Puget Sound. It takes an hour and a half to get the detour around this. I mean, this just destroys all local transit. So obviously, as you can tell from this, the train was going too fast. The why is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So I've done my best to highlight it here in blue with on this Google Maps screenshot, but this is where the crash happened. The part of I-5 South here, where the first bend is, and you'll notice that seems kind of sharp for a passenger train that's supposed to do 80 miles an hour. I am noticing
this.
Yeah. So back in 2006, when Amtrak was going to, build the Port Defiance bypass, they were like, hey, this curve is kind of sharp. We should probably build a new bridge that's a lot gentler that allows us to maintain speed. And then they did the math on it and realized it's going to cost $400 million. So they were like, well,
yeah, fuck that.
We can still hit 6 trains a day, which was their, service target, or 8 trains a day or whatever. I can't remember which of the 2 they were actually projecting at this time. It was 2006. They were like, we'll have high-speed rail by 2015. So, none of this came true. But they're like, we'll just slow the trains down to 30 for this corner, and we'll skip this, and we'll just spend the money elsewhere, because there's so many other improvements we got to make, along the entire Cascades route. and we only have $800 million. So like, let's just leave the bridge for now. Fine.
Yeah, and this is not like a crazy idea,
No.
because we've had like, systems that can detect overspeed for 125 years at this point. It's
So
it's not like you're not likely to have an overspeed as long as people recognize this is a place where it would be catastrophic. So we should install those systems here.
Yeah. So next slide, please. So one of the systems that you would use to stop this from happening is called positive train control, which is, the train knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. And let's say you have a 30 mile an hour curve in the middle of your 80 mile an hour, trackage. If it rips past the 30 mile an hour zone and the engineer does not start applying the brakes, it will say, hey, I shouldn't be doing this. And then it will slam on the brakes. And of course, you'll remember this derailment happened in 2017. Congress mandated implementation of this in 2015 for all like major passenger routes and big freight lines. So it should have been in place. Like this exact situation was anticipated and legislated theoretically out of existence. But the freight railroads were like, hey, this costs money.
Well, also they did it in like the most completely useless way possible, where they rely on GPS, which GPS isn't accurate enough to even know what track a train is on when there's two parallel tracks. So like, it's crazy. You could use a lot older systems to do this properly. But they didn't do that either, which is the case on a lot of railroads in the United States, where there's just like the systems that should have been there for 80 or 90 years just aren't.
Yeah. So notably, like none of this was there. There is no positive train control. The train is just, the engineer drives the train, and if the engineer fucks up, the train goes off the bridge. That's which, is, again, one of those situations where you're like, okay, but I mean, like, the Sounder runs on a lot of these similar, it doesn't run all the way down south to where this exact derailment happened, but it runs in a lot of the same trackage. And I mean, they run fine and they don't have positive train control. So, it theoretically should be fine. That's why you do training runs. Next slide, please.
Yeah, you gotta have the knowledge. You gotta know the route.
Yeah. So here is a map of the trackage leading up to where the train derailed. And you'll see that there's, the T30, P30, and that's your speed limit signs that's the 2 mile warning. And that's...
right, the diagonal ones, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Diagonal ones mean the speed limit's coming up.
Yes. And then in the middle here, it's not marked on this. This is directly from the NTSB, but it's not marked here. But somewhere between 18 and 19, closer to the 19, there's your like 1 mile warning sign, and then at the curve there is the hey, you're going to go off the bridge if you're not doing 30 miles an hour sign.
Increasingly urgent warning signs.
Please do not die. Please don't make an ass of yourself.
Re my previous 3 signs.
Per my previous sign.
And these are like, okay, the speed limit is for comfort and not so much for like safety, but okay, if you went around this at 40, people would be unhappy. If you go around this at 80, you're going straight.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a new section of rail with this corner that's been discussed in multiple meetings, and like the Amtrak knew about it, and so it's like kind of a known quantity that like, oh, this could be a problem. And so what they do is they take all the engineers that are going to run on this section, and they cram all of them into the cab of one of these Siemens Chargers, and like, here, take a look at it. Or actually, in most cases, it was an F40. They're like, here, look. And so the engineer who was driving on this maiden voyage had only ever actually gone through this section of track in this direction once, at night in the rain. All the other times he was either riding shotgun or he was shoved in the back of the cabin facing backwards. And
So this
you
guy
know,
has piss
so
all
he had-
idea what he's doing.
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
it also, like, again, I can't stress this enough. It keeps getting worse. So the sign at mile 19.8, which is supposed to be your, hey, you have a mile to slow down, and that's when you're supposed to start hitting the brakes, right? Like the 2 mile sign is too far ahead. If you start hitting the brakes, then you'll just be doing 30 for a bunch of time. You know, so you're supposed to hit it a mile. That sign is extremely poorly placed and like blends with the signal box that is placed right behind it. And so like it's very, very easy to miss. And so the engineer misses the warnings, the first warning sign of like, hey, slow down, which is like, you know, he's kind of monitoring a new section of track. You know, that's not completely unforgivable. He misses the second one because the sign is completely invisible. And then, you know, we get to the third one. And of course, there's a conductor in the cabin too, on this maiden voyage, but like he's never even run this before. This is his first time to get familiarized with the trackage himself. So he's not there to help. He's there to like learn for himself. So he's not giving the engineer any assistance whatsoever.
Like, bad enough, but this is a paying passenger run. They have brought foamers along because they do not believe that they are ensouled.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and who can blame them?
Yeah, I mean, again, of all of the people who have ever died in one of these episodes, these are the I spiritually relate to these guys the most possible. Where it's like, yeah, I got super excited about public transit.
Bit where it's like, we hope that our deaths will not delay the program because the exploration of space is worth the risk. But it's like getting the train on the first day.
Yeah.
Yes. So okay, so there's the two signs. You know, the human error causes him to miss the first one. Signage being poorly laid caused him to miss the second one. But like, you know, usually engineers aren't like paying super close attention to the signs. They're looking for like landmarks. So, you know, maybe he would notice like, hey, this corner's coming up. I should probably jam on the brakes. Next slide, please. So this is a Siemens Charger. This is the locomotive that was involved in the crash. These were pertinently very new when this happened. They had just entered these into the fleet. So 27 seconds before he reaches the corner, the engineer knows that the track is downhill sloped coming into it, and the train hits 82 miles an hour, and it starts beeping like crazy because it's over the speed limit. This is it's an overspeed alarm, but it is not tied to the position of where the train is on the tracks.
Oh, no.
It's just saying, hey, you're breaking the federally mandated speed limit. Now, the engineer, who again has driven this section of track once in a different locomotive, has never actually driven a Siemens Charger. He's attended classroom training, and he's like, you know, he's hung out in one, but he's never actually like driven one. So this thing is beeping, and he's like,
too. God damn.
Yeah.
So he's like, what does this mean? And of course, it's a different alarm than the overspeed alarms he's used to. So he spends like 20 seconds looking down at the gauges of the train, trying to figure out what the fuck is beeping at him. You know, and just meanwhile, the train is like headed directly towards this corner. And so he looks up with 6 seconds to the corner, and you can hear it on the, you know, cockpit voice recorder, basically, where he's like, oh, fuck. And, you know, tries to apply brakes. And of course, at this point, you're doing 80 miles an hour and you are coming up on a corner that, you know, mandates 30. So it's too late at this point. So brand new locomotive, only run this section of track once. No positive train control, no fail safes whatsoever. So the train, you know, next slide, please.
I mean,
so the train goes off. Here's another shot where you can kind of see, like, I can't believe the people in the cars below just didn't die.
Jesus wept.
Left and right. That's actually, if you look, you can see the uprights for the suspension here.
Yeah.
That's that funky suspension that Roz was talking about earlier, lying flat on the ground. Because yeah, the Talgo designs were heavily implicated in the final report about why there were fatalities, because the cars were not built to modern FRA standards regarding crashworthiness. So the engineers lived, like the train, obviously, you know, the locomotive went off first and hardest, but the Siemens Charger did its job and kept them alive. But you know, some of the passengers died because the train crushed and basically the wheels fell in and, you know, destroyed entire rows of seating for people in the car. And then, of course, the wheels bouncing around everywhere were just kind of like, it's amazing that nobody else died, because you've basically got, thousands of pounds of chunks of steel bouncing around an interstate where cars are going 70 miles an hour.
Well, now, in fairness, I think if it were conventional rolling stock, it probably would have done the same thing. Just because, uh, the wheels, the bogies are basically held on by gravity.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's not really a kind of expected sort of deviation to drop a train onto somebody's car.
No.
Yeah.
bad when
Also,
you do that.
FRA crashworthiness standards are fundamentally broken.
That's
a different subject.
That's fair. But the wheels coming in and crushing parts of the car definitely did seem
Yeah.
like it was suboptimal.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, this one was just kind of a, and I had written this down 1 second. Yeah, it's worth noting that in 2000, so earlier in 2017, the NTSB, in an unrelated report, had noted that Amtrak had, quote, a labor management relationship so adversarial that safety programs became contentious at the bargaining table, with the unions ultimately refusing to participate. The crash was a month after that report.
I am literally never going to blame a union for anything, so this is management's fault.
It is. I mean, it's very much one of those cases where it is like, looking through it, the NTSB cannot blame management, but also a lot of the engineers were like, Amtrak immediately fired the engineer, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And a court was like, "You have to compensate this guy for the rest of his life. What were you doing, throwing him into this train?" And saying, like, "Go do revenue service." He'd never even driven one before.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the railroad as an institution is fundamentally broken.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, this is definitely like an example of, okay, even, you can talk about the class 1 freight railroads and all the horrible things they do. Amtrak does horrible things too. It's all rotten to the core. I mean,
yeah. Well, and again, this was, it's kind of funny that, like, this was driven by a race to the deadline to secure federal funding.
again.
Again, that then, I mean, this is, and it's not even like one of those things where it's like, oh, you could say, this could have happened whenever. It's like, no, this is probably going to happen like one of the first couple of trips, because so much of it also depends on the engineer not knowing where he is. Like, all the engineers that the NTSB reviewed talked about how, usually they have like fixed positional landmarks to orient themselves with, and for tricky sections like this, they have like a house they pass or something, they look for, in addition to the sign, in case they miss something. And so, like, this was just kind of like a first day disaster waiting to happen, and really a reason not to rush this, because it's likeliest to be a problem when your engineers are the least proficient in the segment. And of course, like, the track being owned by Sound Transit, and partially it was managed by BNSF for this section, and Sound Transit didn't actually run any trains on this part of it, and so they were like, no, it's Amtrak's responsibility to make this. Basically, there should be a lot of training around like specific hazardous corners like these, and everybody just sort of blame gamed it, and nobody had the training for like a corner that was this obviously going to cause a problem. Because again, everybody manages it and runs on it, but nobody really wants to own it.
Yeah, I mean, there was no like basic safety systems in place to prevent. We all make boneheaded mistakes, especially on the first day of work. And there was nothing in place. There were systems that you could have implemented to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
And nah.
Yeah, I mean, if they had positive train control, this just wouldn't have happened.
If they had not even positive train control, I mean, you could put a automatic train stop system from like 1910 in there, and
Right.
it would have done its job. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, it was, it took them until 2021 to end up resuming service on this segment. They waited to get PTC implemented, but it ended up taking another 4 years anyway to fix the bridge, and like actually properly do training, and then COVID hit, and so it didn't. It's just one of those things where it's like, one of the things that's eternally frustrating is reading about trying to hit these man chosen deadlines for engineered projects that sometimes maybe just need more time. But anyway, next slide,
Amazing.
please.
Yeah.
Then one of the consequences of this was these Talgo 6 trains were scrapped.
Jesus, like putting down a dog?
Yeah.
Well, cats, because of the ears.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes me even sadder.
They were sent to a company called the Railroad Excursion Management Company.
Oh no.
And then a colleague of ours put them through a shredder, and then got a phone call from the ambassador to Mexico for commerce. And then episode 143 of this podcast happened.
And it was, and a great time was had by all.
Yes.
Nobody had to hide in electrical closets, dodging the Mexican Navy.
Yeah.
As a consequence of the kind of murder of these innocent Talgos.
Yeah. A lot of people are, mad about the Talgo 6s being scrapped. I am told by Scooter that these things were in fact shot to hell by the time he got to them. And I have now seen the videos of him smashing all the priceless glass fixtures in the bistro car.
Oh.
It was going to go through the shredder anyway. It doesn't matter.
Still, man,
One of them's preserved. Don't worry.
Well, they preserved 90% of it.
Right, they preserved 100% of it, and then there's 10% of another car on the end.
Yeah, that's true.
This is my Frankentrain. This is my real train. This is my Frankentrain. This is my
Oh
real
God, I've seen a picture of it. It's hilarious. It's like they just ripped it off another car.
Yeah, they have that up at the Snoqualmie Railroad Museum, which is where my wife and I went on our first date.
Ooh.
We rode Northern Pacific's 894, the steam locomotive. It's a Baldwin 260, I think, like 1895.
Hey, I made the same trip we did.
Yeah, it's a really cool little museum. But it's also, we moved in together, and then immediately the next day went to ride a steam train together because we're lesbians.
Mm.
So, and
Good idea.
They do have the Talgo up there. I mean, other notable side effects of this is that it takes 3 hours and 25 minutes to get from Portland to Seattle today. In 1966, it took 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Progress.
That's an improvement.
Notably, it takes 2 hours and 45 minutes using a car at posted speed limits.
I think the fastest Metroliner schedule on the Northeast Corridor is still faster than the new Acela. So, it's slower across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays we don't even have. I was talking with you about this before we started recording, where we had to scrap. I don't know if we scrapped them, but there was substantial rust damage in the cars they were using instead of the Talgos. So we are now using like Amfleets from the 70s. They had to ferry out here from the East Coast for the Cascade service. So instead of the fancy bistro cars and like the nice seats, it's just kind of like an old, dingy, kind of like worn to hell.
You can go in a cafe car and see a picture of Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, the East Coast Tacoma.
There's one cafe car that has a picture of Nashville, which is a place Amtrak doesn't go to.
It's aspirational, Roz.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they did.
I'd love to go back to Nashville. I too.
Well, that makes one of us.
I'm gonna be. Victoria. I am gonna be an AOPI on the town with my boyfriend, bottom tier Trent. I don't know. Some jokes about frats. I'm running out of material here. Let's wrap this up.
I've been to Nashville I've been to Nashville 3 or 4 times for work, and it's the only city I've ever traveled to repeatedly that has a 100% slur rate, and that I get called a name every single fucking
Come
time
on,
I'm
that
there.
sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genuine. And I'm only ever there for like 2 days because it's press trips. So it's like you fly in, you go to some fancy hotel, and they sequester you for everybody. I go outside for like a cigarette, and somebody's like, "Hey, you know, redacted." I don't know. Can I? What? Yeah, can I?
You
Can I say
can. We're not
tranny
going
on
to
the
stop.
You can say
podcast?
tranny.
Okay.
I've said it so many times over the course
Yeah,
of the show.
two-thirds of us can't say it, but you can say it.
Yeah, no, yeah, so I'm and every time I go to Nashville too, it's like I feel like, you know, even the people who are nice to me are kind of like I feel like I'm in a zoo for like
It's
it's
almost
like
impressive to be able to like clock that hard, you know, like that's and just to have the full like Tesla on deck as well, you know.
Crazy.
Like,
it's
Yeah,
been a
yeah,
different
yeah.
one like it's been like it's like tranny and like faggot and like a couple I don't remember specifically because I've tried to block all memories of Nashville out of my mind.
Who can blame you?
But like it's like different. It's a rotating cast, and the only city that's ever been like consistently meaner to me is Reno, Nevada, and I lived there.
Which shocks me. You'd figure Reno,
This
they'd
is
be like, well, who
this
gives
is
a shit?
bad news for the.
Oh
This is
no,
bad-
Reno is bad.
This is bad news for the show I just booked at the Grand Ole Opry.
I can't believe you don't in that place.
come to the show, or we
They're
will
gonna
enact
invent new
unthinkable
slurs
violence.
for like straight men to call you while you're there. Anyway,
Well, what did we learn?
What do we learn?
yeah.
There's
Train your engineers.
Yeah, don't do.
Fancy European cars, too fancy for America.
there's a lot of safety systems you can install on the railroad. Not even positive train control, because the freight railroads fucked that one up, which can prevent boneheaded mistakes like this one.
You give me Wawa,
One of the
please?
things which I have personally found fascinating from watching, airline accident videos such as on Mentor Pilot is, sort of compare how the airlines handle huge accidents like this to how the railroads handle them, which is the railroads are just like, fuck you. Including Amtrak.
It's like
there
really
is-
like idiot mistake occurs, and then someone notes that the idiot mistake preventer was developed by a guy in his spare time in 1909.
Yeah, 1909 sounds pretty late, but yeah. These are solved problems. They just don't exist on huge swaths of the American railroad network. You could have easily prevented this problem with a little bit of modern infrastructure, and no, we don't do that. And it's confusing
Maddening.
as to why, and this is the whole industry, that the safety culture needs to change. There is a future where people at least aspire to zero derailments. We're far from that. People need to realize things can be better.
Hell yeah.
Which
Preach it, Roz.
having written Amtrak recently, it's pretty easy to look at that and be like, this could be better.
Yeah. This was it's confusing, just because you would think if you're rehabilitating a railroad in the year of our Lord 2006, you would install some systems that would have been considered advanced in 1898. But here we are. I don't know.
Well, and notably,
Maybe
if
it's
they
just that guy's fault.
and notably, if they had just spent a little more money on the bridge, they'd had like a little bit more money instead of having limited bucket of money. They could just rebuild the bridge. The train could have gone 80, and no one would have died.
Yes.
And it also would be faster and work better.
Yes.
I guess
Notably,
that's what we learned.
yeah, spend more fucking money.
Yeah. If there's a system that will prevent a problem that was developed before your grandfather was born, like you should install that. Well, we have a segment on this podcast called Safety Third.
Shake hands with danger.
Greetings, Justin, Liam, and November. I've been...
Fucked up.
Yep. Nope.
Miss Victoria, transphobic.
Yeah. I've been meaning to share this for a while, but my ADHD just wouldn't let me. I am a train dispatcher for a regional railroad here in Michigan. And this is the story of how Pete Buttigieg gave me COVID and ruined my vacation. So this all starts on what I thought would be a completely normal day. I showed up for my afternoon shift at our dispatch office, which is inside an old yardmaster's tower. The yardmasters are long gone, so us dispatchers have inherited the best view in the house.
Nice.
Back in the summer of 2022, Pete Buttigieg, who was Biden's Secretary of Transportation, pictured here, was on this big national tour, talking up investments in infrastructure. One of his stops just happened to be our rail yard. And I had no idea. We're usually kept in the dark about these kinds of visits.
Mixed my days up, ended up on ketamine in a room with Pete Buttigieg.
Who amongst us, you know?
I like usually here, implying that this has happened several times before. Or once or twice they were informed. Plus, since a bigger company had recently bought the railroad, assume that's Genesee and Wyoming, we had already had random executives and the Orange Menace. Yeah, we had already had random executives in fancy suits showing up all the time. They didn't write that it was G&W, by the way. I just inferred that. So when I walked up to the tower and there was this big guy in a black suit and sunglasses standing at the door, I just assumed he was one of them. I said hello, asked if he needed to get in. He mumbled no, and I went upstairs like nothing was out of the ordinary. Yeah, that's my interactions with Secret Service too. Yeah.
What interactions have you had with Secret Service?
I went to. Oh, this is gonna dox my location. Shit. No.
You live in Philadelphia.
I'll
tell you after.
Beep. Got it.
Joe Biden likes a Vietnamese restaurant near my house.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I like it too, Roz. You're not special.
No, it's a very good Vietnamese restaurant.
Yeah, they have the fucking the fish bowl shit that you're supposed to have two people to drink it, but I just get it by myself.
It's owned by my landlord's cousin, I believe.
Oh, is it?
See, giving out this kind of information is exactly how our guests end up supplying you with satellite images of your own decking.
Anyway, no, this is a problem with living in Philly is you just have run-ins with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Even now. So, anyway, where was I? Weekdays are insanely busy, and most dispatchers absolutely do not enjoy surprise visitors staring at us while we work. When I walked in, my coworker on the first shift took one look at me and said, "Oh, you're underdressed."
For the Secretary of Transportation?
At your job. Yeah. Turned out the visit was supposed to be over before my shift even started, which is why no one even bothered to warn me.
Kind of Habsburg shit is it to expect your dispatchers to be wearing like white tie to
Suit and ties,
greet the
right.
kind of
Maybe tails.
Yeah.
Not even a minute later, a motorcade of black SUVs and police cruisers rolled into the parking lot. You'd think Mayo Pete would take the train to see the train dispatcher, but
also, he's
apparently
not that
not.
important. Like, why does?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. America's fucking crazy.
Yeah, we know.
I thought he was the transit guy. Apparently not.
Mm.
Well, no, different guy's the transit guy.
Secret
but-
Service haven't worked out how to like up armor a bicycle yet.
Yeah, actually, I understand
the
that was a
presidential
problem.
bicycle. It's just like, you know, it's landmine proof in the sense that the president is a kind of fine mist, but the bike is completely impervious and is fine.
Also,
I
for some
wanna
reason,
say
has a,
Pete
has a
Buttigieg
50,
did
50
try
cal
and-
strap to it.
He did try and bike around DC, but there were like 3 SUVs around him protecting the
This
bicycle.
is insanely paranoid. Like, there's no reason for this.
Nova, we have 350 million guns.
Yeah, but like, how often do people take a shot at Pete
USA.
Buttigieg?
USA. Well, never. But that's because we have 350 million
Well,
guns.
never, because they got.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand
Spurious
how the
reasoning.
SUVs. I don't understand how the SUVs prevent you from taking a shot at Pete Buttigieg.
Their aura is too strong.
Yeah.
Yes, so I
Deflects the bullets like
kind of- the kind of
Fortune in Metal Gear
psychic-
Solid 2.
Yeah, the kind of psychic violence of like Fed security theater dissuades any potential assassin. A thing Feds actually believe works. Like,
as a high-ranking government official, you should just be able to get drunk and wander out and hang out with hippies on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
Oh, going for
there's,
Boris Yeltsin.
there's a Netflix miniseries about the Garfield assassination,
Death by
which
lightning,
I think also, should take you to that position, which is, it was probably better when just let him walk around.
Yeah. These people are so coddled up that they never experience. Anyway,
Never
They-
experienced shit that like President Garfield experienced.
they don't
Being made a
they-
slutty
they
little
don't-
Kermit by your doctor. Yeah.
At some point, you forget how to shop for groceries.
Mm.
And at that point, you should be disqualified from public office. So anyway, not even a minute later, a motorcade of black SUVs and police cruisers rolled into the parking lot. And of course, the railroad doesn't stop for anyone, so there was little time to spectate at the crowd of people outside. A minute later, a parade of people ascended the stairs, including railroad executives, reporters, security staff, and then Pete Buttigieg himself. He walked
Mayor
right up to me,
Buttchug.
shook my hand, and introduced himself. And honestly, he seemed like a genuinely nice person.
That's his job, is to seem like a genuinely nice
Yeah.
person.
After a lightning fast introduction, the president of the railroad turned to me and said, "Okay, go ahead and give everyone a quick explanation of what train dispatching is."
Oh my god.
I was completely unprepared and frankly horrified. 15 minutes earlier, I'd been expecting a normal day, not a spontaneous TED Talk in front of the Secretary of Transportation. I did my best to explain what we do, probably stumbling over most of my words and sounding like a fool. Meanwhile, I'm making desperate eye contact with my coworker, silently begging her to save me. She just kept working away on the phone, like it was the most
Terrible.
important phone call of her career. Eventually, she finished and thankfully stepped in, explaining what was happening on the CTC, that's centralized train control, dispatch screen, as if she was turning over to him to take over the dispatching duties. This whole visit lasted maybe 20 minutes. Before they all left, Pete shook my hand one more time. This is important for later.
Oh no. Thank you, Freddie Foreshadowing.
Now, we're going to jump ahead a few days. My wife and I are at Walt Disney World, or as I've started calling it, Bay Lake Country Fair, because it's really gone downhill.
It fucking has, dude. Listen, again, you know, as somebody who's forced to go to Disney World a lot of the time because I'm married to the most terrifying woman in the universe, I can confirm it has really gone downhill. She's 5'7" and she's very scary. But yes, go ahead. And then other people are puking up their Grand Marnier slushies, but not Liam, because I can hold my liquor, you motherfuckers.
Now, when I'm in the Disney bubble, I try and leave all real world stress behind.
Hey, whatever gets you to enlightenment, you know, you can Disney mode. That's fine, probably.
We were in the Space Mountain queue.
Oh
when
no.
the family in front of us started talking about the news of Pete Buttigieg just tested positive for COVID-19.
But is Pete Buttigieg that much more important than I imagine him to be? That just random Disney enthusiasts are like, hey, do you hear the fucking high elves of like necromancy is banned in Cyrodiil or whatever? Like,
Look, the nice centrist lives think he's going to be the next president because he has a straight gay boyfriend.
And I'm Mayor of Narnia. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And without thinking, I jumped in with, I met him a few days ago.
You idiot.
As you can imagine, they put the pieces together a lot faster than I did. By day 3 of the trip, I woke up with a dry cough.
This is pleasing to me because like this is one of the I've only had this one out of the 3 times I've had COVID where you get the kill cam, where you know where and when you got it and from whom, and you should get that every time if you ask me. Like doubly so if it kills you. Then you should get a little,
you definitely better get you better have like a cutscene, yeah.
Yeah.
By day 5, I was coughing so much that strangers were giving me the side eye. I wrote it off as allergies because apparently denial is a powerful thing. Masks were optional at Disney at the time, but my wife, who was significantly smarter than me, suggested that I wear one.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Feel it in my fucking bones.
It helped the cough at least. By day 6, our last day, I was completely wiped out. I didn't even leave the hotel room. I shut the curtains, laid in bed all day, and my phone would buzz every now and then with pictures of my wife living her best life in the Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
yep, been there.
When we got home, I finally took a COVID test. Surprise, it was positive. I spent the next several days miserable, but I did get an extra paid week off, so I guess that sort of balances out the ruined vacation.
I feel like you should get like a challenge coin or an achievement or something if you got COVID, if you got infected with COVID by a cabinet secretary, like
a little Xbox notification in your peripheral vision.
It's like how some video games have an achievement for like played with one of the developers, you know.
So, in true safety third fashion, here's the moral: the odds of Pete Buttigieg giving you COVID at work are low, but never zero. And honestly, the safest way to avoid getting COVID is simple. Just don't go to work. Ever.
Buzz.
Yep.
Feel free to cite me in your HR meetings. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed my story. I did try to keep it short, but, well, you know how that goes.
That was
From
bad.
Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
So yeah, this could happen to you.
Remain vigilant.
Always be vigilant. You never know when Pete Buttigieg is coming to your location to give you COVID.
Secretary of giving you COVID.
I thought that was RFK. Or the worm, actually.
The worm. I can't believe that woman
They
sent
call
him
him
a picture
Dr.
of
Worm.
her picture of her butthole. And
He's
all
not a real doctor, but he is a real worm. He likes to play the drums.
Don't send people pictures of, or do send pictures.
He thinks he's getting
of your
good.
butthole, but a lot of people who like you.
And he can handle criticism.
Yeah. That was safety third.
Shake hands with danger.
Next episode will be about Chernobyl. Does anyone have any commercials before we go?
Come to the live
Support
shows, you
Victoria
dirty motherfuckers.
and all that she does. Come to the live shows, or else.
Yeah.
This is your final. You have one warning remaining, and to show you we're serious, you have no warnings remaining.
Exactly. Come to the live shows, or we'll shove you into the reactor at 3 Mile Island, which is apparently being reactivated. They're not calling it 3 Mile Island anymore. They're calling it the Crane Clean Energy Center.
Fuck off.
You know, yeah, we'll shove you into the old reactor that's melted down, actually. You know, because we
That
can't
sounds
go
like
to
some
Chernobyl
George
because it's a
Orwell
war
trying to
zone.
come up with examples for newspeak kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's like that's like in Seattle. Our stadium is owned by Jeff Bezos, and it's called Climate Pledge Arena.
Pledge Arena, yeah.
Subscribe to the Patreon, and if you do, don't subscribe to the Patreon on iOS. Do it like not through any of your like iPhone apps, because Tim Apple takes a cut, and the cut is substantial, actually.
Yeah, if you subscribe to the Patreon from your iPhone type device, all you have to do is to subscribe on your web browser as opposed to through the Patreon app.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We will make literally dozens of dollars more if you do this.
Yes.
Please.
Man, I love technology. Anyway.
Me too.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.